Hey everybody, this is Blake Ragland here, Brad, Sean, Will, and I'm sitting down with our certified financial planner, Brandon Morgan, once again, and we're doing our first video in our new office. And today we're going to be talking about the 4 key areas to having a successful retirement. So Brandon, before we get going, let's just lay out what those 4 key areas are for everybody, and then we can dive deeper in each one. So what are those 4 key areas?
Okay, Blake, the 4 key areas for retirement planning. Number one is create a lasting income stream for the rest of your life, for the rest of your spouse's life. Number two is investment management that's compatible with your risk tolerance, with your specific goals. Number three is asset protection strategy. And then number four is legacy estate planning. So those are the 4 main issues in retirement planning.
Okay, well, income. Let's start there. Let's dive into that income. What are the things that they need to consider whenever they're looking at their income in retirement?
Okay. I would say this is the number one step because the science and math of retirement income planning has clearly concluded that creating a lasting income stream for the rest of your life, for the rest of your spouse's life, that's not impacted by, say, a downturn in the stock market or the economy is the most optimal way to eliminate any worry about running out of money during your lifetime.
Okay. Well, I know. Well, what about number 2 here? We got the investment strategies, right? So I know there's advisors now that still do use the 4% rule. Is that something that's outdated? Is that something that is still being used, or can you kind of break that 4% rule down? Because some people want to do their magic number and then just take out X amount every single year. So how is that going to affect their portfolio?
Okay, good question, Blake. So there are people out there that use the 4% rule still, and it is quite accepted in the financial industry. But when this rule was enacted, it was in the 1990s, and the economic conditions were different. Interest rates were much higher then, which were going up now, but not where we were back then. And also the market is so volatile. I think it's a little bit dangerous to plan your retirement income strategy around taking out a lump sum each month for your regular paycheck. The more optimal way is to create that income stream. So regardless what happens to the stock market, regardless of what happens to the economy, you still have that you have that lasting income stream.
Okay. Well, going into the third step here, your third key is that asset protection.
Well, let's back up and go to step 2. Okay. Again, let's just kind of review that. Step 2 was investment management.
Right.
And so in that step, again, you want good investment management. What we're talking about here is you want to have investments that are available for whatever expenses you have over and above what your income stream will meet. And then 2 is your investments should be managed to be able to meet inflation, because right now we're seeing inflation really kick up, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to have some investments out there that are growing fast enough to keep up with this inflation over a period of time.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier, it's also got to meet your risk tolerance. You can't be sitting here nervous as a cat the whole time watching your assets.
Yeah, and that's what the average person gets in and gets out at the wrong time. So you don't want to be selling when the market's down. So you have to have a strategy in place where you're not getting in and getting out at the wrong time.
Right. Okay. Well, let's jump to that number 3 now. That asset protection. What do you mean by asset protection? Is there different risks out there that people need to look out for that are higher than others?
Well, when I say asset protection, what we're talking about is you're protecting that retirement nest egg that you saved up for. First and foremost, there is the type of losses I would call shock losses. And by shock, I mean it's unexpected big losses. Could be a house fire, car accident, lawsuit, medical expenses, any of these big unexpected type expenses that could really hamper your retirement. These shock losses are something you really have to to concern yourself with.
Yeah, especially since they're so unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
But what about the other types of losses that could occur? I mean, I know we talked in the past about and taxes and inflation. Like, how does that affect your asset protection strategy?
Well, that's a good question. So your shock losses, you typically can cover them through either insurance
Right.
or entity protection. In other words, setting up maybe an LLC or a trust to siphon off some of your assets. And if there's not a way to do that, you may just have to avoid it altogether, or maybe you just realize that if it happens, you'll have to take care of it out of your emergency fund.
Right.
Now, the other type of strategies that you need protection from is just that happen over a period of time to erode your savings. And these could be such things as taxes, inflation. And so while they're not catastrophic all at once, over a period of time, if you do not deal with these, they'll just slowly destroy your savings.
So that's why you got to have a good strategy in place to make sure you're analyzing those really closely.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, lastly, I know we talked when we went through the 4 estate and legacy planning.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some key things in that category that people need to look out for and prepare?
Well, when we talk about, estate planning or legacy planning, a lot of times it's not an issue people really want to think about, their end of their life, their demise. But most people want to ultimately leave their assets to either their children, to an heir, to their church. And you want to do this as efficiently and effectively as possible. You want to, as much as possible, bypass probate if you can. And so most people just want to do this in as efficient method as possible. And the better you do at managing risk in your investments and your income stream during your lifetime, the more that's available on the back end.
Okay. Well, is there anything else that you want to add to these 4 key areas before we end today?
Well, on the final area, on the legacy, you have end of life planning, maybe such as durable power of attorney, living will, a will maybe if you don't have trust, funeral expenses, have those sort of things set up. So these are the 4 main steps, and this just kind of helps organize your overall retirement situation, hopefully to take some of the risk away.
Okay. Well, if you haven't started planning for retirement yet, or you have started and you want a second set of eyes on something, that we'd be happy to go through that with you. So if you were interested in coming in and sitting down with us and reviewing your retirement plan, we'd be happy to do that for you. So give us a call and set up an appointment, and we'd be happy to help. Thanks, guys.